uncles, aunties, and my dear friends. Today I'm going to share some information regarding about Christmas and the New Year. As we all know, Christmas and the New Year have just passed. Thus I'd like to be more of an interactive person. We'll start with some questions. I hope we all agree, and for those of you who do, let's proceed. My first question is, where do we find the Christmas story in the Bible? I know we all know the answer, but for the smaller kids, I'll offer a clue. It's in the New Testament. Now I'd like some hands. Anyone volunteering? Yes? Okay, yes, Anthony? Oh, well done. Oh.
The Gospel of Matthew and Luke, chapter 1 and 2.
Well done, Anthony. As Anthony just clearly stated that, the Christmas story is perfectly and truly stated in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke, chapters 1 and 2. Now these stories are both versions of the Christmas story, and they're perfectly stated. However, in each of them there are about 5 or 6 differences. I don't have the time to record these 5 or 6 differences, so I appreciate when you have the time, or after this program, you go home, take the Bible and read Matthew and Luke chapters 1 and 2 to find these 5 or 6 differences. However, I do have the time to record one similarity. And this similarity is that Jesus Christ is confirmed to be born in Bethlehem. You can find evidence of this in Matthew chapter 2 verses 1 and Luke chapter 2 verses 4 to 8. I'll fuse the two stories together and now summarize the Christmas story. So it starts with Mary, who was praying in the temple one day, and then suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared to her. She becomes scared and turns away. Then the angel says, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. For you are blessed of all women in this land, and so you will conceive a special baby boy, and you are to name the special boy Jesus. He will be respected and loved by everyone, and he will be called Son of the Most High." When Mary heard this, she was so happy that she said, "I am the handcraft of the Lord, and he does what he wishes with me." Then when the angel heard this, she left. Then Mary set about the town, spreading the news to everyone, and everyone took the same joyous approach to this news. However, Joseph, Mary's soon-to-be husband, didn't take this news as seriously or as joyfully. He was very nervous and scared, and so that night he decided he would divorce Mary for the following reasons. Because he thought that he may be responsible for Mary's public disgrace when they find out that he is her husband. So, in his dream, an angel came and reassured him. But the next morning, Joseph changed his mind and married Mary. After this, some 2 Roman soldiers entered the land. They had come to announce a new law, and they had said that everyone had to issue a census, which meant they had to go back to their hometown and get registered. So Mary and Joseph had to pack up and set out on a 65-mile long and treacherous journey to Bethlehem. And when they had got there and they registered for the census, it was evening. So Joseph sat Mary down and told her, "You make yourself comfortable, I will go find a place for us to stay." And Joseph left, looking for a place to stay. However, he tried hours and hours looking for a place to stay, and all he got was nothing. No inn to stay in for the night. So, when Joseph had come back in disbelief and hope, the Lord showed mercy on them, and so sent a small woman to them. And she said, "I see your wife is in pain, and so you need a place to stay for this night. However, there is no use looking for an inn, because all inns in Bethlehem are full for the census." So she pointed to a small fire which was somewhere over there. She said, "If you look at the fire, and you look behind that fire, you'll see a hut. If you look behind the hut, you'll see a stable. I know it doesn't look very much like an inn, but it may accommodate you for that night. And because it has fresh hay for you to sleep on, and a manger on which you can lie the baby." So that very silent night, Mary gave birth to a boy, and Joseph named him Jesus, and laid his sweet head in the manger. In the hills, some shepherds who were tending their sheep in the hills saw a bright star coming straight towards them. They turned and ran for their life because they were scared. But then the star said, "Do not fear, for I am an angel of the Lord. There is a Saviour of the Most High, which has been born in the city of David." Immediately the shepherds knew that the angel had referred to Bethlehem. So when the angel left, they ran straight to Bethlehem and straight to the stable where they worshipped the baby with full heart. In the east, in a faraway land, some 3 wise men or astrologers saw his star shining in the east. So they set out on camels with small offerings of frankincense, myrrh, and gold. When they reached Bethlehem, they informed the king, but the king wasn't very happy when he heard this. He was furious. He didn't like it. He hated it. He thought he was the king and that he should be respected by everyone. But then in his head came a very cunning plan. But this cunning plan he didn't reveal to anyone. So he looked out his grand palace window and said, "You see that star over there? It's shining above that small stable. If you go to that stable and come back and lead me to it, I may too worship him." But do we all know what this evil plan was? I hope we do, because if we didn't, things might have turned out worse. So after the 3 wise men had worshipped Jesus and everyone had seen him, in the night, an angel warned the 3 wise men not to go back to Herod because she had told them his evil plan. So they selected another route and went home to their country. In another dream, Joseph got warned that Herod was so angry that the 3 wise men had betrayed them. So he set out on a massacre with his knights to kill all infants under the age of 2. But Joseph, Mary, and Jesus waited safely in Egypt until Herod was dead. But when they came back expecting a new and kind ruler on the throne, they found his more evil son ruling on the throne. So they had to again go, but they didn't go back to Egypt or to another country. They went straight to Nazareth, their hometown. And there Jesus grew up to become the very important person we know today. Now before I conclude my speech, I'd like to quote some words from which I heard from Father Eben's speech from last Sunday when he was delivering it with Reverend Father Cormac Desheni. He asked us a question. Are you happy? So I'm too going to use this question. Are you happy? Now our vicar obtained these words from John chapter 15. Now if you pray and you find yourselves not happy, these may be 2 of the reasons why. A, you might not be praying to everyone, your friends, family, enemies, everyone you see on the street. And B, you might not be loving everyone from the bottom of your heart. If this is so, then start loving everyone from the bottom of your heart and start praying for everyone and anyone you see. For if you do, God will shower you with blessings. And so the next time I stand here with this mic in front of all of you, I'm going to ask this question: are you happy? And when I do, I want everyone to shout back at me, "We are happy." So everyone, have a very happy new year. Stick to your resolutions, and may God bless you.